You're copying without realizing it. If your playing feels generic, it might not be because you lack creativity or you're not a generic person. Don't worry. You are a unique individual. It's because you're defaulting to imitation. And the things we learn, although they can increase our vocabulary and give us more to say, they can also limit us, especially if we just get rock-brained on one way to say something that we've learned or one way to play, speak, or sing an idea. And that's where creative practice can be freedom. See, there's influence and there's identity. There's subconscious copying and there's mindful creative iteration. The way that we listen to music and assimilate it and the way that we are being with it, whether it's dancing, feeling it in our body, running to our instrument, singing along with it, that shapes the way that we output. It can also just be a lack of awareness. It can just, I didn't realize it. Wow, I just actually played the introduction to, a Michael Jackson song and I didn't even know I was doing it. My daughter's actually afraid of that. Every time she writes something cool, she's like, oh, it already exists. It has to be out there. And the truth is every note, every progression, every type of idea is already out there, but it's in the feeling that we put it together and the instrumentation and the melodic variance and the expression and the connection to who we are and how we feel that makes it original and brand new to us and to a listener. So if we can develop this intentional expression, if we can practice with amazing iteration, and if we can know on different layers and levels why we like the idea, why we like the note, the phrase, the chord, the progression, the song, if we know why, then we're on the right path to creating rather than repeating. And nobody wants to be a copycat, especially musicians. In fact, it's illegal. We all know this, copyright rules. Some people have gone to jail and gotten in trouble for it. If you're Gen X, you know the Vanilla Ice story. And so it can be done. And you don't have to sound like a copycat. You also don't have to be afraid of being repetitive or robotic or of recreating the same idea. I've got some really great tools for you. If we haven't met, I'm EP Archer. This is Music Rebels Rising, where serious musicians break out of the box, let go of old patterns, and finally create music that actually feels like them. So let's go through those points. I love, love, love the idea of iteration. And if you're a creative writer or if you're someone who does choreography or dance, or if you simply like to cook. There's so many examples in life of how iteration can exist and how it does exist in a supernatural way. So let's say I love to make pasta, I'm not always going to make a bow tie shaped pasta with grass-fed cow butter and pecorino romano every time I make pasta. No, there's kind of a loose structure, right? There's a pasta, there's the pasta water, there's some sort of a fat or an oil, there's maybe some sort of an acid, another ingredient, it could be veggies, it could be cheese, but we've got the pasta water, the oil or the butter, and then what we're going to dress it with. And that is like thousands of variations, even if I only have a few different kinds of pasta or a few different veggies. Or just butter and olive oil and a couple cheeses. We can combine that into so many different delicious dishes, and that's what can make cooking fun, right? We have a recipe, and some of my favorite recipes from the New York Times, right? They, at the bottom, they've got like these loads of like variations, like, oh, if you don't like spicy, do this. And if you want it more this, and there's all these options, which is how I think when I cook. There's a basic skill and concept. There's a technique. And then I can run to the hills. If I know, cooking without an acid can make the flavors not pop as much. And I learned that adding a little bit of an acid can increase that flavor, or seasoning. Maybe I've never used salt before. That is like this cool revelation. And music is the same. It's not so complicated and like high tech, and you have to have so much talent and so much technique. The main point is to take what you have already and to expand on it. And if you do that, you won't be copying. You won't be imitating, and you won't be robotic. You will have a language that you have developed. So let's talk about that influence versus identity. Now, if I'm influenced by someone, let's say Miles Davis, he's coming into this bebop scene and he's playing his version of jazz. He's just chill. He's laying on the sixth of the chord instead of the third or the seventh. He's playing in his own voice and his own style right away. And if Miles Davis is an influence of you, then you're going to find a note that you love and you're going to honor that note and lay on it. You're not going to just find the sixth of the chord of a major chord, right? You're not going to just repeat what he did or learn his solo verbatim. What you're going to do is take what he did and say, oh, I see Miles is taking time. He's really like leading with an idea. Ba-ba-da-da-da, ba-da-dee-da-da-da-da, ba-da-ba-ba-da-dee-da-da, right? He's really committing to that idea. And so if I'm influenced by Miles Davis, my identity might be, you know what? The note that I pick, I can lay on that note whether anyone likes it or not, as long as I like it, as long as I'm feeling it. And in that feeling and confidence, I convince people. And that's what Miles did. He did it with cool jazz. He did it again with fusion, absolute pioneer. And he did it with his butt to the audience, okay, if you haven't heard the stories. So you don't have to be limited even by, a societal expectation that you face the audience. If you're committed, if you're confident, and if you believe in and love what you're doing, that is the key. And isn't that the key to everything in life? To feel that passion and that inspiration? If you don't, why are we doing it? And if you've lost your passion and your inspiration for music, my heart and my mission is to give it back to you. Whether you're doing a subconscious copying or just, you're not listening in a way that would shape your output, right? When I listen to music, like some of the things I encourage my students and my clients to do are to move to the music, to dance to the music. If you're not dancing, moving, singing, going to your instrument, feeling it through your body, then you're not assimilating it in the same way. And of course, do we want to sit down with a chord chart or a piece of sheet music and say, I want to play Jar of Hearts by Christina Perri exactly how it is on the recording? Of course we can do that. Or a Mozart piece, learn it note for note with the right, stylistic considerations and the exact amount of vibrato or non-vibrato or tone quality that we need. Absolutely. There is joy in that honoring of the original. But what we're talking about here is your music and your sound. So what can you take from that Mozart application? What can you take from Christina Perri's Jar of Hearts? That walk down, that minor walk down, right? If I know what it is, hey, there's a minor walk down here, right? Or there's a release to the four chord. Okay, let me take that. And how many different ways could I do a walk down? I can do a walk down. I can do a walk up. I can do diatonic. I can do chromatic. I can lead to the four chord. I can lead to the six. I can lead to the two. I can lead to the... There are so many different ways I can take that one idea that I liked from Jar of Hearts and apply it. And that is where we develop intentional expression. That's where we shape our output from what we've heard, but not by copying it. And to me, that is the most fun practice. If I know there's this minor pentatonic thing going on, right, then how many different ways can I play it? I can play it ascending. I can play it descending. I can sing it. I can mouth trumpet it. How many different ways can I do the minor pentatonic? I can do it in groups of 2, groups of 3, groups of 4. I can do it overlapping. I can do it up, down. I can do it down, up. There are so many different ways I can play that. And to me, that can be fun. And if that part isn't fun, there are tons of cool, nerdy musicians who, and I say the word nerd with total affection because I am one, that have written out these exercises, so you don't have to think of all the different combinations. But wouldn't it be fun if you could explore the combinations that really ring with you, that you love? Wouldn't it be cool if you could develop through exploiting an idea and iterating an idea as many different ways, because then you're not copying it. It's something you heard that you love, that you've now ingrained and absorbed a bunch of different ways. And now you can cook whatever kind of pasta that you like. You can make whatever kind of music you like with that idea. Your voice just requires awareness and choice. It develops through iteration, assimilation, and connection, not just to yourself, not just to the music you're playing, but to your life and your experience and your purpose. Your sound doesn't magically appear, it emerges step by step when you stop defaulting and start choosing to connect. If this resonates, join the revolution. Music Rebels Rising. I'll see you next time.